Hi everyone. I wanted to hop on here today and share with you a little about an upcoming program that I have called Rising Strong Through the Chakras: How to Transform Trauma and Create a Life of Inner Freedom in 90 Days. So the intention behind this course is to help us figure out all the different ways that we get stuck in our thoughts, in our feelings, in our behaviors, right? That we engage in particular patterns of thoughts, feelings, or behaviors that are out of alignment with our integrity, that no longer serve or support us in the life we're trying to create. Often these different patterns, again, the way we think about ourselves, our relationships, others, the world, the way we feel about ourselves, others, relationship, the world. Often these are deeply ingrained patterns that have been survival responses with the intention to try to keep us safe throughout our life. Now, the thing is often when we're learning these various things, they did keep us safe, right? The thought of, well, if I'm not welcome, then I'm not safe. Or the thought that, if they're not wanting to communicate with me, then I need to renegotiate this relationship, or I'm going to pull away because it doesn't feel safe to be engaging with them anymore. All of these different patterns are survival responses. So if we look at it on the lens of a nervous system level, our nervous system was simply trying to keep us safe, right? It's that trauma patterning, those programs that when we feel threatened, again, threatened in our environment, in our heart, in our mind, in society, in our relationships, in our home, we are going to adapt in one way or another. Often we engage in fight, flight, freeze, we can fawn, right? So again, these are different programmed responses. The question is, are they still serving us? Do they still support us in what we're trying to create and how we're trying to lead or live our life? Or are they keeping us stuck, repeating old patterns of thought, feeling, and behaviors that, again, are no longer in alignment with where we are presently in our life? So rising strong through the chakras provides us opportunities to get curious about the various ways we get stuck. Right? Rising Strong is one of Brene Brown's programs that invites us to really get curious about the ways we get emotionally hooked. Emotionally hooked could be like, man, I am so overwhelmed, so I just want to get in a fight and I just want to offload. I want to yell at my partner or my boss or the person that cut me off in traffic, right? And it's noticing that, and without judging it, without reacting to it, it's getting curious. Why do I want to yell at my partner? Why do I want to tell my boss to get out of here? Why do I feel like I need to tailgate this person that just cut in front of me? Right? These are very different programmed responses that we often just end up doing habitually without actually questioning, does this serve? Does this support me? Does this support others? Does this support the type of life that I'm wanting to live or create? Now, chakras are these energetic doorways of how we can perceive reality, right? There are 7 energetic centers, primary centers, that we get to get curious of how we relate to the world. Right? One of my favorite quotes about the chakras comes from Sharon Gannon, who's one of the co-founders of Jivamukti Yoga, and talks about chakras as doorways into the perception of reality. And we can kind of get an idea of our relative ease or dis-ease in our relationships is the indication of how we are doing, is that indication of how aligned are we? How much balance or regulation do we have in our life? Simply by looking at the quality of our relationships. And the chakras each have different attributes or associated elements that help us get curious of where we get stuck. Right? Some of those relationships are with our family, with our environment, with our partners, our past partners, our present partners, romantic, creative, sexual, business partners. Also has to do with how we relate to others, how we may have hurt others or how others may have hurt us. And then it's also calling in all of these lost parts of ourselves. So we get to get curious, what's it like to relate to ourself as a whole being? Right? When we are able to navigate through the shame, through the guilt, through the grief, through the anger, through the hurt, in such a way that we truly get to feel wholeheartedly integrated, that all parts of ourselves are welcome at the table of our heart. And so in these 90 days, we get to walk through chakra by chakra and explore, where do we experience suffering? Where do we experience struggle or heartache? Where do we keep repeating patterns of the past in these different relationships? How do we struggle with anxiety? Where is grief coming up in our life? How do we navigate criticism? Where could we potentially use stronger boundaries? How do we get curious even what boundaries might be needed in our relationships? And so throughout this 90 days, each week there are practices for your body, your mind, your heart, and your spirit. Because in all of my training, all of my experience working in the mental health field, we can't work isolated in silos. Right? There's only so much benefit that can happen if we just focus on the body, or we just focus on the mind, or just focus on the heart or on the spirit. The truly transformative practice lies is in the integration of those 4 parts of our being. When we are able to work together with these different parts, so we can have physical practices, meditation, breathwork practices, journal prompts, that all help us get curious of how we can evolve, of how we can transform and heal those patterns that aren't serving us. So we truly get to create a life of inner freedom in our bodies, minds, hearts, and spirits. So if this is something that you find that you struggle with, getting caught in patterns of the past, reliving past survival responses and trauma patterns, if you feel that you struggle to regulate your nervous system or create a balanced, aligned life, this program may be for you. I would love to share it with you, and keep circling back, and I'll be sharing more practices and more information about rising strong through the chakras. I'll see you next time.